Swamp Thing number 7, written by Scott Snyder, art by Yannick Paquette. We left off last issue with Alec Holland being stabbed through the chest by a chainsaw and Abby Arcane being taken in by the Rots as their queen in a very grotesque manner. So, yeah, things ain't going so hot. And this issue is basically more of a conversation, more of like just a verbal beatdown than it is a story. But regardless, it opens with Alec reliving his previous death as well as his current one, just thinking of how similar they are and how every part of him is screaming out. Everything is screaming for it all to stop, and he just wants relief. But this time something is different, something's wrong, because all of the screaming and pain, it doesn't stop. And then we see Alec has been mentally teleported into the Parliament of Trees, which is on fire, mind you. And they just lay into him. They were like, Alec, you failed so hard. Like, you could not have been a worse avatar choice if, like, we literally picked someone from the Rot. You are the worst. And Alec is like, well, I can stop it. Just change me into Swamp Thing. I'm ready now. And it's like, we can't do that. No, dude, we do not have the power to do. We are on fire. All of this is over. We have lost. The green is done. Good job, dickweed. So basically, the Parliament's plan is we are going to teleport you in here. You're going to have to watch us burn. And then you'll be released back to your body just as they are cutting you open. Like you are going to die. And he basically rolls into, like, all you had to do was just be Swamp Thing. But instead, you decided to fall in love with that little witch. And she's like, don't call her that. That's my girlfriend. It's like, what do you want me to say? She is literally the queen of the Rot. She is being brought there to be the queen. And he's like, she's not going to do that. She's different. She's special. And it's like, oh, yeah, she's special. Yeah, she's just going to ignore her entire destiny. And Alec's like, I did. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, you did. Congratulations. And look where it got us. You did it because you were scared. He's like, I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared of that. Being scared of Swamp Thing. No, I saw you guys. The first time through, I thought plants were docile, and I thought that they were something to be admired because they didn't have the wars of people or animals or whatever. But no, you guys are just as cutthroat. You're all just as awful. But the difference is you don't even have a conscience about it. That's why you wanted me. That's why you needed a human to be your avatar. Because I had things that you guys don't. And you have forgotten over your many centuries of being here. He's like, yeah, okay. Good job, Alec. Yeah, you're totally right. That's exactly why. Little too late. So, yep, we're all going to die. And we see Alec is starting to just drip blood across his entire body. Because, again, it's like Inception. You know, you die one layer up, then you're just slowly dying the layer down. And he's like, okay, you need to change me into Swamp Thing. And he's like, oh, were you not listening to the entire past conversation? We can't. We are physically too weak. And he's like, yes, I understand that. But in my bag, I have some of that bio-restorative formula that like kickstarted it last time. It should be enough to kickstart it this time if you just break it and use it. Just do it. And the trees are like, all right, well, yeah, that could work. All right, but here's the deal. Even if we did that, we're still going to die. You will be Swamp Thing again, but you're not going to have a Parliament of Trees to help you, and you're going to lose. Like, there's no way you can defeat the entire Rot army. And he's like, just do it already. Just turn me. They're like, you're never going to be human again. You understand that? Like, this is for realsies this time. And he's like, yes, do it. For the love of God. And he's like, well, we're very proud of you for doing this for the sake of the green. He's like, I am not doing this for the sake of the green. I am doing this for her. And so it breaks the vial on top of Alec, and it turns him into Swamp Thing the same way we saw before. He's being completely overtaken by vines and leaves and such that get into every orifice of his body through his veins, and he becomes the monster. But this time something is different, and we see the Rot starting to run away from Swamp Thing, but he extends out his hand, and out of his fingernails come some sharp branches which just impale the heads of each of the Rot. And as he stands there, he sprouts branches off of his back, which very quickly turn into leaves, which very quickly turn into wings. And Swamp Thing just actually literally flies off on Angel's wings, saying that things are different because this time it was my choice. And now, Rot, I will show you war. And that's where it ends off. Here's the thing. I think I might have been a little bit skeptical at the beginning of this because the fact that we were keeping him as Alec Holland instead of just turning him into Swamp Thing felt like they were just saving it for some big end reveal of like, oh, look, and now he's Swamp Thing. Wow. But I honestly feel that this made it work. This made it feel like a story that could not be told with him as Swamp Thing. He had to be Alec Holland to then make that decision and do something, like to actually act instead of just be this sort of passive, like, force of nature. Like, it's so well done. It is so well done. And of course, I've said this a dozen times, but if you're not reading Animal Man, it ties in very well with this entire series. But I love this Rot green red dynamic. It's very well told. It's an epic story for, like, and I'm not even exaggerating. That is an epic story being told between the two books. And I am so looking forward to where this goes from here. Now that we have an actual literal Swamp Thing who's able to control the green, like how is he going to be able to use that to stop the Rot? And he's already lost a lot, so it doesn't seem like he has very much more to lose, and that makes him very dangerous as a person. So I'm super interested in this. It's a great end to this trade. It's just this one thing here. If you didn't know the Rot War continued on, this one trade would be a perfect just Alec Holland story, not even Swamp Thing story, just an Alec Holland story, which I don't really think those exist. So I'm very happy that that does. So yeah, no, great story. I'm giving it an 8. And the only thing that really brings it down is the fact that it is pretty much just a verbal beatdown. There's not a whole lot of real plot progression to it, except for he becomes Swamp Thing. Like, it's more of just let's talk about all the things we've learned in the past 6 issues, which is fine. It's like I said, very well told. So yeah, no, very, 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 very impressed by this story.